Hello and welcome back. Today I want to play a little bit with Fume Extractors, and thanks to the Ayla shop I have four models here. They are all burrows, and here we have a big one. Here we have a double big one, but I also have a desktop size. This is the entry level, just a little filtering. Here is a more modern desktop size with actually an HEPA rating. So first I like to show them one by one with the prices and about something about the filtering that I do, and later we can do some tests with I have an airflow meter from Unity and I have a sound level meter as well, so we can compare a little bit the noise that they generate. But instead of doing it in a lab precision way, I'm just gonna do these measurements as a human behind his desk. So no use to put the floor units here, to put those on the desk to have a similar sound level. No, I want actually to measure them the way you use them. So let's start a little bit with the entry level. So let's start with the entry level. This is the EOU 486. And I think it's around 35. It comes in two models, and it is the 486 and the 486 Plus. And the Plus had some extra pipe in the back, which I will show you later. Let's put them on the desk and have a closer look. So here we have the Iowa 486. This is the Plus, because the Plus has extra pipe. I will show you later. It has an LED. It has an active carbon filter, but yeah, it doesn't have a HEPA rating, and I will explain a little bit more about HEPA ratings later. And it is also sold as a wheel tech. And it's just a ventilator with a little filter. So if I switch it on, you can hear already it makes a little bit of a sound. It has an LED, but it is more blinding you than it actually puts it on your work, but we can try that. The filter is, if I'm correct, is active carbon, and it mostly tries to take out the smoke and a little bit of the gases that try to connect to the carbon. So it will clean a little bit, at least it takes out the smell, but then it will just blow it into the room. But it is better than nothing, and it takes it away from your face in that sense. And let me show you a little bit about the HEPA ratings. And here is the HEPA rating. Not sure if it's European only or it's worldwide, to be honest. I didn't look into that. But what it actually means is how good the filter is. Let's say if you have a room full of particles of 0.3 micrometer, which is very, very small, and then if you have a rating of E10, it means it should filter out at least 85%. And then, well, the higher the number, it starts to change letter also. It starts to filter out a lot more, as you can see. So that's about the ratings. So this was the basic version of the IOU 486, and I have the Plus version. That means you get also 1.5 meter extractable pipe, and you can just put it outside of your window, and then it's really good, because then the smoke is out, and then it doesn't matter too much if it filtered or not. But it takes a lot of space on your desk, especially if you have this pipe, because then I somehow need to route this from the back up there. And yeah, my desk is not that big, so even though this is a nice desktop size, it will take a lot of space. And now I have this cable here. So what if I'm doing something? I also don't know how strong is the suction. So let's try a little bit. If we need to put it very close by, or we can just leave it like this. So let's do a quick test. Well, I position it a little bit different, because if I actually would be using it, I would try to position it like this. and then put this in front, but I can't really film the smoke, so let me just try to do it like this. I have a little bit of flux here, and let's say if I do like this, you can see smoke. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yes, you see half of it goes still up there, so you need to position it kind of close, almost like this. But it does work, and out of the back I don't see any smoke, so the active carbon does work. Let me position it a little bit different, and I think with the light we should be able to see if the smoke comes out of the back or not. I don't see smoke out of the back, so the carbon does do its work. It takes the smoke out. So even though it's now blowing in the room, it is definitely cleaner. So it does help a little bit. I still smell, but also a lot of smoke went to the front because the suction is okay. I think it is like 20 watts. I didn't do airspeed meter yet, or so. The filters are washable. I think they say you can wash in them around just with water around 10 times, and then you really need to replace them. And it also came with a spare filter, because at some point it's active carbon, so at some point the activation just goes out, and then the smoke will maybe be filtered, but the gases will not connect anymore to the carbon at some point, so then you need to replace them. And then there is another solution for the desktop. If you don't want to buy these huge things, or you just don't have that much space, or you're just like me, just doing for hobby, just only a few hours a week that you're used to soldering, maybe this is also a nice solution. It's made by Shop. It's all metal, and it has an HEPA rating. It has an E10, between E10 and E11, but at least this does more than 85% of the 0.3 micrometer particles it will take out. So this really filters a lot better than the other one with active carbon. It actually has 3 filters. And here it is from the front, and it works with the power adapter. So the cord is small, which is nice. I think you can move it easily around on your desk. And if you think it looks kind of weird, well, the part you can just move any way you want above your work as you want. So I also like it's all metal. So if we open this, and this you can also just unscrew. Not sure which way. Yeah. And then let's try to open. Well, it's a tight fit. It needs to be sort of airtight, right? So, okay, there it goes. The first filter we find is just a cotton, and the cotton filter is just to make sure that the big particles are taken out of the air already, to protect the more expensive HEPA filter, because the HEPA filter, yeah, this is the special one that can do more than 85% of the small particles. And you like to protect these, and this is cheaper to replace. So maybe you replace 10 times of this before you replace this one. So yeah, be smart, replace this one a lot more. Save money on replacing this one. And there is also an active carbon filter again to take out the smell and the last gases that are maybe still here, because the gases can be smaller than these particles, and then you want the gas to connect to the carbon to take that out. And that's another filter right there. And you can hear the carbon parts are in there, and this is the big ventilator. So let's put that back together. So you can see this looks already a lot more professional than just this black foam thingy. And so this is actually much more good for your health if you don't plan to blow your smoke out of the window. And it's all metal, it feels good. I'm not afraid that I break something, it feels good. So switch it on, a nice colored button, slow start, and then it comes. It is a bit more noisy, to be honest, but it probably has a lot higher airflow, and it blows to the back. That's also good, so it's not just blowing to the bottom, it's really to the back, so away from me. Okay, let's do another setup and blow away some smoke from the flux. So I will just, the pipe is long, so you can I want to do this a little bit higher, like this. It is more noisy, but let's see what it does. The good thing is you can now do it from the top instead of from the back, and probably the smoke goes up, so. Yes, it does, but it still goes also around, so you need to do closer by then, maybe like this. Okay. Yeah, this is really close by. That will work. Yes, it will work absolutely, but that's not fair comparison. Okay, I don't feel its suction is that good. Okay, I'm just thinking of another solution which actually might work a lot better, because if I mount it here, it doesn't take any space on my desk. If I'm not using it, I just take out the pipe like this, so it doesn't take too much space. The cable can go in the back, and I think because of the gravity, the pipe will also hold a lot better. So if I mount it like this, I can just switch it on, pull the pipe down like this. It will stay because of gravity. And yes, that will work. Yeah, it would have been better if the suction was a bit stronger, but that's probably because of the filtering. Okay, then we have another one. And this is the AOU again. I don't know exactly how to pronounce. It's almost like IOU, but it's the FEK01. It has 3 filters. It is huge, but this is you put this on the floor, and then you have these long pipes here, and you can just navigate this to your workplace. It is noisy and a bit rough, and these are the nozzles, so you can put that exactly above your work. I will show that later. Well, it looks exactly the same as the little brother, but now it doesn't have a ventilator, but of course that is in this box. The LED works on the battery, so there are no cables in the back. That is nice. This is the first filter. Well, we saw this before. It is this kind of foamy filter, but it is sort of active carbon, so this is the first level. Then inside here, I'll show you later, there is another big filter. That is the HEPA filter again. And this is a higher rating. This is H11, so that means it is almost 97%. It will take the particles out from a 0.3 micrometer. And then in the bottom there is another one, again an active carbon, and that one takes out the smells and the last gases that are still left. And that's actually a big one also, because it's more professional, it's higher volume. And this one by default, by the way, comes with 2 nozzles, but when we do our measurement later, I will do only with 1 nozzle, because the other ones also have 1 nozzle. And here is that other carbon filter again with the carbon balls in there. And well, this one you replace depending how much you use. It can be every year, every 2 years, just as much as you use. Same for this one. If you change your pre-filters more, and they come with extra pre-filters, you save a little bit money on not having to replace your EPA filter, because yeah, you save it from clogging up. So let's have a little closer look. Okay, on the floor, let's see the filter. You just take it off. You can see it has now 2, and it will just share the suction power. So if we're gonna do measurements, I will do 1. And here we have the HEPA filter, and you see it's actually 2. Here it's for the main dust. This also seems kind of carbon, but I don't think it is, because this should only be HEPA. Here in the bottom we have the big engine, and that other filter was just in here. And with the filter you need to center yourself in the middle, because you can put it like this, like this, like this, but you really need to put it in the middle. Okay. I would have expected they would put some spaces here, that there is only one way to put this filter in. But okay, let's put it. I think it was there. But it's easy to replace. Here also, replace your pre-filters often, then you don't need to replace this big filter. Not sure. I thought this filter could be around 50 euros, the mid filters, while the front ones are just 5 or 6. Okay, let me just close one hole, and this one, and put the other one in. This one has a digital display, so when we switch it on, it will be in standby. Then we switch it on and it will start, and it is a little bit noisy, but usually it's not on the table, so you will not hear it on the floor, you will hear it less. And it is variable, it's now in 20%, and it can go a lot higher. And actually, when it's higher, it almost seems to make less noise. It has to do, I think, with vibration. So I installed the device right here. You can put it on the floor, so it doesn't take any desk space. I have all my space here, and you can just put the nozzle where you want. Although the pipe, it stays in its position, it is kind of tough to move it. It makes a lot of noise, but it stays in position when it's there. Okay, I think like this is even better, because it's not taking any space there, and if I'm not using it, I can just take the pipe out, and then it's only the box, and when I'm using it, I put the pipe back in and switch it on. It's now on full power, but I must say, on the floor it makes it sound a lot less noisy. And well, let's see, how is the smoke suction? Because the nozzle comes from the top, it is much more likely to suck all the smoke, because it is really on top of your work, and it is not in my way, because I can just do here things as I want. So if I do now smoke, yeah, clearly everything goes in. Yeah, this is a lot better. Let's try from this angle. You can see I have space. If I just, even if I put farther away, this works. Okay, then we have another big one. This comes by default. with one suction port, but you can also have, as an option, you can also have two, and it has enough power to able to use two suctions, because this one is really powerful. Even the HEPA rating is higher. It's an 813. That means with 0.3 micrometer particles, it can do 99.97%. So almost all the particles are out. It has 3 filters. All the filters are in this box. So in the suction there is nothing. The pipe is also wide. It comes with this very long pipe. It is much more flexible than that black one. Okay, how does it do its filtering? There was no filter in the nozzle itself. Again, it's all metal. Look at this. Instead of some tape, there is a real proper foamy rubber thingy. Then we have the pre-filter on top. Same story here. The more you change the pre-filter, the more you save on this big filter. So here we have the HEPA. This one does, how much was it? 99.97, which is a lot. So this is the main HEPA. And then the same, we have the active carbon, which is a huge filter, and it is this big, the whole filter. So then you know why it has such high filter. And then in the bottom here also there is this big engine. So let's make some noise. It is just a pot. You start turning and it will slowly spin up, and on low speed you don't hear, you almost don't hear, and it already starts some good suction, but it can go a lot higher. And here my papers start already to blow from my desk. The suction is amazing from this one. And that's not it. It can go higher. This is some suction. But on the desk you hear it a lot more than on the floor. So let's put it on the floor and connect the pipe. Yeah, and because this pipe is much more flexible, but still good enough not to change position, I was just able to put it even behind my lamp, so I can still move my desk light around. And if I want it closer to my work, I just put it closer to my work, and it doesn't make this squeaky noise, and you don't need a lot of force. So that is what I like from this one. And well, let's see what it does in practice. So I have the pipe on the table, doesn't take any space, just like the other one. And well, let's just put the power on. I just put it to full power, and I hear more the nozzle itself because of the high suction than I hear the engine. So I can put it on half speed, and then I still think it is better, but we see later. Meter, so let's try to smoke. Well, easily it all goes in. Even if I hold it here, it goes. And on full power, probably, absolutely. Look at that, it all goes in. This works amazing, but it is more noisy. Okay, let's do some other tests, because we listened to the noise, but there is no exact number. And well, the suction was just to feel. Okay, so let's do some real experiments. I have here also from the Elisio Pica 2 meters. One is sound level and one is wind speed or flow. Okay, I made some sort of a setup, and then you think, why you have this sound meter here? Because it is way too close, because usually you use with a meter, or this is not very lab-like. And well, it is not, but I'm trying to do sort of a practice test. If I'm soldering, my ears would be around this place. And if I measure like this is like 33 centimeters. The ventilator I will always, or the nozzle in this case, here it's the ventilator, but with the other device will be the nozzle. I will always keep this at 20 and I do a test at 15. But when I'm soldering, my ears will be here. So I keep the sound meter always around this, and this is around 40. But also, if the other nozzle cannot reach 40, and because of the nozzle cannot bend that much, then the nozzle is just closer. But that is what happens in practice, because I will still be soldering like this. So this one I keep fixed. So maybe with the black nozzle, because it was not that flexible, the distance will be less, which sounds unfair, but in the end, that is what happens in practice. If I cannot bend it the right ways, I'm not gonna solder like this, no? You're gonna work as you work. So my ears are always gonna be here. So that's what I like to measure. And I will measure the airflow directly on the nozzle and directly on the product on the test point. So well, this is the test that I cannot really compare, because this tube I can not bend it that it nicely comes from the back. So, but I will do the 20 centimeters from my object, and yes, it does come closer to my ears. So the nozzle will be closer to the sound measurements, but it is fair, because if I'm working here, this is where I hear the noise. Okay, switching on the power. Well, I'm not that convinced with this Unity. It doesn't turn all the time, the wheel, and still it says it is 3. So I don't feel that good about it. And but I also have another one with a big vent, and as you can see, this one just goes also on low speeds. So I think with this big air fan, works better on the lower air speeds. So I will be trying this one also. It also has a min-max. So I would just holding that in front. So I will do I need to retest the other ones also. Well, the suction of this oil shop, the white one, the big one, is a lot more. So I put the black one on the maximum, measured the airspeed. That was around 11 meters per second on full power. This one on full power almost does 19. So I switched it now back to 11 meters per second. And now I'm going to measure the sound again. Okay, I'm surprised more and more about this huge one from the FE1W. It's now at its lowest, and you can almost not hear it. And let me get the meter here also. What's about this position? And it's like 47 dBs. And if I measure the airflow directly on the pipe, it's almost 7 meters per second. And if I have this little one here, you probably even hear in the microphone. It says now 64. And it does 2.2, so it's a lot more noisy, and it only does 2.2. So on the lowest speed that you hardly can hear this one, it is still huge suction. Wow. Okay, I will just put all the numbers in the table with some pictures and then we go together through it. So I've got all the numbers. I put them all together, all four here. And but in the end it is just 2x2 because we have two desktop models and we have two semi-professional ones with an extra box and those huge pipes. So let's have a closer look. So here we have them all four in complete different price ranges, and starting from 35 to 99 to 259 to 449. And well, the quality also goes up in that sense. Again, you get what you pay for. If you want a nice starter, let's start with the two desktop models because these are semi-professional. Well, the two desktop models, one 35 euros, one is 99. You can also buy the Plus to have an extra pipe in the back, but then it will take even more space on the desk. For both models is, okay, this will take space on your desk because you cannot put there your device. The first one, the cheapest one, does not have an HEPA rating. This one has. So that's why you pay more. There are three filters. Here is only one. This one is washable. This one you just need to replace, but you don't need to replace them every time at the same time. The airflow wise, this is 1.6 meters per second. This one can 2.21, so there is more flow through this one, but you get for that a lot more noise. And for both of them, this airflow is a bit low, but always better than nothing. Okay, then the two big ones. There is a difference in price here also, 260 or 450. But again, if you look at the filters, again the HEPA rating is a lot better. Here is E11 and this is, oh, this should be H13. And well, there is a huge difference between 97 or 99.97. So if this is 3 out of 100, this is like 3 out of 10,000. So that is a huge difference. Also the airflow with the nozzle, I measured in front of the nozzle and directly on the pipe. If I measured just in front of the nozzle, it was 2.95, and here there was a lot more, 3.85. But what if you measure directly when it's on full power? This one was almost 11, well this one was almost 19. But this 19 come at the cost, because if we look at the noise, it produces 73 decibels. Well, this only did 63, but there is a lot more airflow. So what I did, I turned down the speed for this one until I also had an airflow of 11 meters per second. Well, this one of course had the 63 as we have here, but this one then went down to 85, and 85 is really low noise, and yeah, it is not disturbing. There is a huge difference between 85 and 63. Yeah, when I measured the airflow for this one, I cannot measure directly on the pipe. So maybe what I should have done, I can still try to do that, is close everything except for a little hole and then measure again. Because somehow it feels like this one can do a lot more air than this one. And I really noticed that, and maybe the filter is just limiting it just a little bit too much. It really, I love this machine. It looks very nice. It is small. I think it's great if I can put it on the ceiling, but the airflow is just too low. I think I'm gonna measure that, because I measure airspeed while I should have measured volume, but I didn't manage to do that. So maybe the air speed will increase if I just make this fit exactly, and then maybe I have a better comparison. That is easier to measure on the back, because I already have a round hole here, and I measured before, I think 1.6, if I remember correct. Let me see. Max. yeah, around 1.6. But if I measure on the back, that would be the same as directly on the pipe, because the air that goes in also must come out. And then I'm not completely closing it, but I'm closing it a lot better. And then indeed it is 2.7 even. So in that case I was correct that the airflow from this one is a lot higher than this one. Yeah, and then the nozzles of the big ones. Yeah, here you can just bend it like this, and this is soft and you can easily rotate it. You can put it on. This is kind of rubbery, and I like it is long and small because, like I do here, I have the pipe behind, and I can just take it out or put it on, and because it's small, it doesn't stick out too much to the front. Well, if you look at this one, the pipe is really terrible, and you really need to use force, and the nozzles are huge. And there is a light, it's nice, you can put a battery, you have some lighting, but you don't need lighting if you don't need to put a big shadow, because this one is putting a big shadow, while this one is not. So here I don't need a light, because it is not taking too much light. So for the cheap ones, and it is weird, because I think this one is, this is my favorite in the two cheap ones. It has not the filtering, but it is just because the airflow is too low of the little one. And with the two big ones, it's absolutely the more expensive shop, because also the speed control is a lot better. It doesn't sound weird because the electric motor of the IOU really makes a funny noise when it starts. And I don't know, maybe they use a real big fan and it just doesn't sound good. Or in this model I have here, it is something with the bearings. It just doesn't sound good, but on full speed the sound is good, but you can really see it's less quality, and the pipes also makes it, yeah, almost bad to handle in a small environment here. I think if you have a big desk, and you can maybe put the pipe from the back to the front, but here I cannot do this. Here I really need to bend it in all funny corners here to make sure it doesn't interfere with my desk light. And then you need this, that you can just quickly bend. And so this would be absolutely my favorite there. So that's it. It was a little bit messy, because also I'm older, I'm moving all my stuff because it is way too small. I need a bigger lab to work with everything at the same time. I really like the idea of this one in the desk, and the filtering is amazing. If there will be a newer model with a higher airflow, I will absolutely go for this one. But for now, I'll just keep my cheap one here on the desk. And for the bigger ones, if you have the money and you are in the decision, should I buy the IOU for 260 or the big shop for 450? If you have the money, you absolutely will be so much more happy with this bigger one, for the pipes, for the control of the speed, because I was controlling the speed also of the IOU, and between the 20 and the 75% is almost no difference, and from the 60 to the 100 also not. It is like above 40% that the motor is already pushing against the filters, and yeah, putting the percentage higher really doesn't make sense, because the filters don't have more airflow, so even the engine is not going much higher. So yeah, it is really cheaper. In that sense, you get what you pay for. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time.